Okay, now we're going to move on to dividing fractions. The first thing I want to talk about are reciprocals. Okay, so reciprocals. Right, so the reciprocal of a number is basically the number flipped. Right, so first of all, you want to remember that every number can be written as a fraction. Right, you can turn any number into a fraction by putting it over 1. Okay, and then the reciprocal is going to be the flipped fraction, the inverse of that fraction. Right, so if you have 5 over 7, okay, maybe you have 1 over x. If you flip that, it's x over 1, or you can just say x. Great. So again, like a whole number, the reciprocal of 4 is 1 over 4. Okay, why do we care about reciprocals? All right, remember we talked about this with solving fractions with division, right? Like if you had 4x equals 48, right? Then you would multiply by the reciprocal, because multiplying by the reciprocal gives you 1, right? So 1/4 times 4 just gives me 1. Gives me x. 4/8 times 4 gives me 12. And then we solved for x, right? So this is from like week 2, solving equations with multiplication and division. All right, so again, we're going back to reciprocals. The reason why I want to show you is that, and I'm pretty sure I covered this, but we'll go over it again. Dividing is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal, which I also went over in those same like week 2 lessons. Okay, so like my example, so if I have 2 divided by 3, so multiplying, dividing is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal, so instead of saying divided by 3, I can say 2 times, right, multiplied by the reciprocal of 3, which is 1/3. So let's prove that these two are the same. Right, so 2 divided by 3, if I were going to like write it in algebra, we use a fraction, right? 2 times 1/3, remember I can make this a whole number. I multiply the tops, multiply the bottoms, and we get 2/3 equals 2/3, right? So it checks out. So the dividing is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal of the second number. So we call this the keep, change, flip. Okay, what that just means is we're going to keep this first number, we're going to change the sign from division to multiply, and we're going to flip the second number to its reciprocal. Okay, so that's what you're going to do now when we're dividing fractions. Okay, so let's say we have 3x over 5 divided by 4 over x. Right, because if you try to like just divide this, you know, divide tops, divide bottom, then you're going to get like, okay, 3x divided by 4 over 5 divided by x, and it's like, whoa, how do I simplify this? This is really confusing, right? We don't want to do that. So let's just change this division to multiplication using the keep, change, flip, right? So we keep this first one, so I'm going to keep it the same. Going to change the sign from division to multiply, and I'm going to flip this fraction to its reciprocal. So instead of 4 over x, it's x over 4. Okay, and then now look, it's just a multiplication problem, right? I'm just going to multiply the tops. I'm going to multiply the bottoms. 5 times 4 is 20. There are no common factors, so this is simplified already. Right, if it wasn't simplified, then you would also simplify it, but in this case it is. And there you go. We just change it, we just do the keep, change, flip, then it just becomes a multiplication problem, which everyone hopefully is familiar with from the previous lesson. And then you simplify. So it's just one little extra step. Okay, let's do, I don't want to do that one. Let's do another one. A over 5. Okay. So I'm going to do the keep, change, flip. So I'm going to keep the first one, change this to multiplication, and I'm going to flip it from b over a to a over b. Right? Then I'm going to multiply 8 times a is a squared, 5 times b, and no common factors, so that's simplified. Okay. So let's do this one. Okay, so we've got, keep this the same. Oops, 3. Change this to multiply. And we're going to flip that second fraction to its reciprocal. Okay, and then I multiply, or if you want, you can simplify first. I'm just going to multiply, and then I'll simplify. Okay, 7 and 4 don't have common factors. Don't forget, there's the little ones here, right? So it's 2 minus 1 is 1. So that means I'm just left with a to the first power, or just a. 3 minus 1 is 2, b squared. So I'm left with 7ab squared over 4. Okay, so it just becomes, when you do the keep, change, flip, then you just have a multiplication problem, multiply tops, multiply bottoms, simplify, just like we did in all those examples in the last 2 lessons, and you've got your right answer right there. Let's just do one more for good measure. But hopefully it's pretty straightforward. Okay, so we've got this problem. So don't get fooled when you see like a whole number there. Remember, we can turn it into a fraction because any number divided by 1 is itself, right? So 3b squared over 1 is the same thing as 3b squared. So I'm just turning it into a fraction just so we know how to flip it. Times, so it should be 1 over 3b squared. Okay, and then we're gonna, looks like there's no common factors. B to the 3rd power. Okay. Yeah, and that's pretty much that. I think I can stop it there. I mean, like, your simplifying might get more and more, you know, a little bit more complex. But as long as you know this rule, then you should, hopefully, should we do one more with maybe more simplifying? You know what? We might as well, because more examples don't hurt. You can always stop the video, too, if you don't want more examples. Let's do this one. Okay, so another one of those tricky ones where it doesn't look like a fraction, but you can make it one. Okay, so then we rewrite it. Times 1 over 2x. Y. Then I'm going to simplify. X squared over x would just give me x. Y squared over y would just give me y. That's all I can simplify. So then it's just x times y times 1, or xy. 6 times 2 is 12. Okay. One more. So keep, change, flip the second fraction. Okay, and then if it helps, you can make this a fraction so you know what's on top and bottom, right? We do have some common factors in our numbers. 4 and 12 can both be divided by 4. So we're left with 3 there. Right, a over a is just going to leave me with 1. Right, a over a is 1. And then we have b squared times 7 times b squared. So 7 times b to the 4th power over 1 times 3 is 3. And there we go. Simplified. This time I simplified before multiplying. If you wanted to multiply it out first and then simplify, you can totally do that. Get the same answer. All right.